Hey, what is up, y'all? I'm Dr. Mark Trubetskov, the mad scientist of metal, and today I'm gonna be reviewing a new plugin by Bogren Digital, which is called AmpKnob Rev C. My good friends from Bogren Digital have sent me a trial for this new plugin, which is a new Ampsim by Jens, and it's really simplistic. It only has one bloody knob. And so today I'm gonna play around with it and see how it fits into a workflow of a modern guitarist, songwriter, or maybe mix engineer as well. And so just a disclaimer, I have not tried the plugin yet. I've only installed it and I've not done anything with it yet. So you will be able to see my first real-time impressions, as well as I'll try to quickly compare it with maybe another Ampsim and one of my amps from the shelf as well. Let's do it! It's so bloody cold today in Melbourne, man. Freezing! Let's take a bit of a look at what this plugin is described with. So, as far as I can see, AmpKnob Rev C only has one knob, which is gain. That's it, which is cool. I understand that the plugin strikes to deliver on its simplicity and efficiency, and I really appreciate that approach because sometimes I just want to plug in and record an idea that I had in my head, and this would just save so much time and unparallel one's creativity, which is quite incredible in my opinion. Let's see how it fits. So I'm going in through my DI box, and it sounds like this. Let's crank it up, man. Just straight away. Let me see. So a couple of observations. First of all, it sounds very realistic. Dynamics is something that has struck me really hard because it sounds almost like a real amp in terms of how it responds to my playing. And, you know, I've not warmed up this morning today. I'm still very cold, and you can hear how crappy I sound sometimes. I miss chugs, and it instantly responds to that, which is a really incredible sign of great dynamics of the Ampsim. Also, in terms of dynamics, it has that great gain structure, which almost seems like there is a little bit too little, and then I don't want to go overboard either. So the gain knob is sensitive, which is sick as well, and it's rare. Finally, the tone, I love it. I feel like this tone has something to do with the green back cabs, that kind of grainy top end. I like it a lot. It's really balanced, and it sounds massive. However, I don't think that it would be suitable to all of the metal styles, more so for the actual styles Jens works on. So maybe some progressive metal, maybe some black metal, something with a bit of a texture, a bit of a darker sort of vibe. I'm not sure how that would fit into the modern metal niche. Traditional and old school, 100%. Black, melodic, progressive, 100%. Super modern, genty sort of thing. I'm not exactly sure how that would be suitable. Another thing is this is modeled after Mesa rectifier, as far as I can see, and I got a bit of a love-hate relationship with that amp. I used to love it a lot, as it sounds super fat and rich, and then I used to hate it a lot as well, because it has so much gain, it kind of closes up, and plus the low end is really boomy on the amp, and you need to either use a really sophisticated cab or you need to modify the amp actually to have it sounding good. However, in this case, there is just a perfect balance of the mids, the low end, and the top end. It's never boomy, delivers good response, very balanced, and crisp, which I think is really hard to achieve with Mesa. And plus, out of the box with no controls, it sounds so good. That is, to me, just an outstanding achievement, honestly. I would 100% use this as a songwriting tool. Easy. If I have an idea, just throw it on, click record, get done with it. Super easy, super solid, great tone, and having this luxury of not being distracted by twisting knobs and finding the sound is incredible, because then you can separate your songwriting and production and finding the guitar tone. And many of us guitarists are being only stuck on that finding guitar tone category and never care enough about the songwriting. So this tool, by applying limitations, this amp knob allows us to release our creative freedom. And that, I think, deserves enormous respect. This is something that I tried to push my colleagues, my clients, to do more of. And, well, I obviously don't have that much of a power to do so, but Jens does. So this is a step into a fantastic direction. Having limitations actually helps to be more creative. Now let's play some more, and I'll do some comparisons with some other Ampsims that I got, and maybe I'll crank up my amp as well. Maybe I'm a bit warmer now too. Now let's do a bit of a comparison. One of the Ampsims, free Ampsims that I use is Amped Roots. I don't use it too much, honestly, but I just have it at my disposal when I need to either practice something or lay down something quick and dirty. So let's see how that sounds. It's a big freaking difference straight away. Jens's Ampsim sounds so much bigger so much richer in mids and just fuller across the spectrum, and the gain structure again is proper, whereas Sound Lab one, it sounds kind of closed up, and I've tested it a lot. I've turned the gain up and down, and just it doesn't change much, and it sounds kind of muffled without being muffled, if I may. So the mids are a bit weird. If I try a different cab though, I just tried to match these two sounds, and it's been very difficult. I kind of got a little closer. It's also important to obviously level match, so one isn't louder than the other. But overall, the AmpKnob does not require any processing at all. It is good to go. It has perfect amount of mids. They are rich and nice sounding mids. Top is good, and the low end never booms or sticks out. It's incredible, and I've just forgotten how tough it is to get to that level of sound. As you can hear with the amped roots, it requires a lot of EQing for the moment. It has those muddy mids, low end sticks out, and it is too dynamic, and the overall sound is not dynamic enough in terms of response to my right hand. To get to that level requires a lot of work, which is not the case with the AmpKnob. It's just there. It's really striking how good it is out of the box. Let's compare it with the real amp now. So I'm using my custom audio amplifiers, my usual rig with Horizon devices, overdrive, and all of that. And this is just one of my regular sounds. Cool, I broke a string. Alright, I think this was a really valuable test. Let's talk a little bit about what we've heard here. So, my amp, I naturally like its tone a bit more, simply because I've been crafting it for ages, and I'm used to it, and I like how it responds to me. Plus, I naturally really appreciate the big low end. However, at the same time, if you compare it with Jens's emulation, my amp sounds freaking boomy. And that's something that I've been obviously battling with for a while when aiming to make it sit in the mix. So you need to cut the low end, find the resonances, resonating frequencies, tame this down. You need to then apply multiband compression to even out that chugging, booming, moving, dynamic low end. And all of that is a lot of work. Whereas for Jens's sim, you just plug in, play, maybe even record, and put it in the mix, and it's done. So, in all simplicity, Jens's development is probably just an insane amount of work, an insane amount of evaluation, trial and error, and understanding how those tones work in the mix, not just by themselves. And plus, the mid-range character is something that really stands out. You can hear how it's different from my impulse response, which is just a Bogren cab for now, and I have a lot of other ones. I like Friedman. These are one of my favorites. However, they need a lot of work to clean up that low, the mids and mid-range particularly. Whereas Jens's stuff, it has that nice mid-range frequency that kind of sticks out, but not too much. It has that nice character, and it's super balanced, and it just fits. So I guess it's time to conclude. I think it's just a remarkable development. I don't think it is one size fits all. To me, AmpKnob sounds a little bit towards that European Swedish sound for obvious reasons, I guess. But it's just an invaluable tool at dispensary, not only for songwriting in particular, because it doesn't break up your creativity, but I think for mixing as well, for blending that tone underneath or using that as a primary tone too. So just, I guess, heads up and huge respect for such a great new tool. We're in a very exciting age for guitar sounds.